Ramon Gustilo was born in a rural farming community. His parents owned a small parcel of sugarcane land, but they were very poor. They had to borrow money from Chinese businessmen just to send him and six siblings to school. They would always say, "We don't have any wealth for you to inherit. The best thing that we can provide you is education." As a 12-year-old, he was a vaquero, tending their three carabaos. At the height of a fateful monsoon season, two events changed his life forever. On one occasion, during a thunderstorm, the half-ton beasts were frightened and he was thrown from one of them to the muddy ground. On another occasion, when he brought them to the river, he was swept by a rampaging flash flood and barely survived the ordeal. He declared, "I will not be poor." And that's what motivated him to strive and create his own destiny. And so he worked hard, walked more than 5 kilometers to and from school every day, and focused on his studies.
Talent is never enough. You need hard work and a focused direction to achieve success in life.
When we were in the second year high school to fourth year, I did not think of him as somebody big, somebody who is going to be very famous later on. He used to have very high grades. He acted like an ordinary person. Parang ano lang kami, we just play, we run here and there.
When his older sister finished nursing, she helped him through medical school at the University of the Philippines in Diliman. He passed his board examination and immediately went to the United States. He was accepted into the orthopedic residency program at the University of Minnesota. There, he successfully completed research on bone blood flow, which earned him his master's degree in orthopedic surgery. He also became a full professor at the university. This marked the beginning of a long career as a surgeon, educator, researcher, and an innovator.
When I first became department head at the University of Minnesota, Hennepin County Medical Center, Department of Orthopedic Surgery, was 37 years ago. The biggest problem that we have at that time is broken bones that is sticking out of the skin. We call it open fractures or compound fractures. At that time, there was no standard way of treating them. So, whatever reason, I decided I'm going to find out how to treat this. So in the next 5 years, I reviewed the experience at Hennepin County Medical Center. Next 5 years, thousands of charts. I do it in the evening, every night. I will go back from 8 to about 11 o'clock. At the end of 5 years, I was able to come out with an article, so-called The Management of Open Fractures and Classification of Open Fractures. This was published in 1979. Since then, that same article I published in 1979 and another article in 1984 became the standard way of treating open fractures up to the present time all over the world.
Dr. Gustilo is a person who I knew of even before I came here. He is truly a giant in the world of orthopedics. even if you're not an orthopedic surgeon, you know of Dr. Gustilo because you're taught his classification of open fractures in medical school. When you meet Dr. Gustilo, you meet a man of boundless enthusiasm who's always asking questions, is never satisfied with the status quo, and wants to try to improve everything that he can for the care of his patients.
Dr. Gustilo was my teacher. He's the physician that really introduced me to orthopedic surgery and the field of orthopedic. His major contributions are actually, in my mind, the mentoring of students all the way from grade school to high school to college, also teaching residents and teaching fellows.
He could take and make some of the most complex, difficult subjects easily understood and something that could be managed by those of us who were trainees. And he did it in a very congenial, collegial, non-threatening kind of way.
He was a tremendous role model for us all. We were so impressed by the things that he had on his agenda. And he was an American, Asian American, and that even encouraged us more to see what the nation could achieve in the United States.
I met Dr. Gustilo when I was a medical student, so that was over 30 years ago. And back then we had real bad orthopedic emergencies in the middle of the night, and he was 60 years old and he would still come in and help the patient and help teach us.
Dr. Gustilo was very influential for me to work with him in the early days of total joint replacements and be able to work with a man that had such strong surgical skills. He's gained so much notoriety over the years for everything he's done, but to me, he's one of the best surgeons I've ever worked with.
Huge clinical influence on me and scientific throughout my career by first starting out with kind of pointing out a good clinical area to study, really holding me to high principles and not letting me get away with anything, and always saying that the hard work is the best work, and the way to really make a difference is to study the problems that are really the important ones and the ones that affect a lot of people.
One of the things that I have learned from Dr. Gustilo is he would walk in the office and he would say to us, if we were doing something, "You people, you have to focus." And I think I must have heard that 450,000 times in my 40 years with him. He's been a big inspiration for me, and when there were things I sometimes didn't think I was capable of doing, he always encouraged me to do it. And so it's been an interesting 40 years.
He has beautiful operative skills, great pair of hands. I can only hope I've gotten about an eighth of his skill. The things that he has done as far as innovation in medicine truly astounds me. The creativity that he has brought to his art is inspirational to me as a physician.
How famous Kobe Bryant is in the NBA, that's probably how famous Dr. Ramon Gustilo is in the orthopedic community worldwide. Other things that I remember about Dr. Ramon Gustilo is that he does not dwell on the mistakes that you make. Instead, he looks at the potential, how you could become once you undergo training. He does not look for people who are really very good. He just looks for people who can be trained to become good. Dr. Gustilo for me is a great Filipino hero. He is an unsung Filipino hero. And I wish that a lot of Filipino children will get to know him, will be inspired by him. He has touched my life, and I know that it will never be the same again.
He gets called on Saudi Arabia to just operate on the royal family. He gets called to talk to different areas in the United States. What struck me is that despite how famous he is, despite how big he is in orthopedics, he doesn't act as if he knows he's important.
He was one of my teachers. I'd say one of my favorite teachers. I've learned more about him, and I have experienced other parts of his life, like his charitable giving.
I had this car accident way back in 1997, and I broke my hip bone, and for 12 years after that I suffered pain. I was limping, I cannot walk straight, I cannot even tie my shoes. Yeah. And I was operated by Dr. Gustilo on my hip. I had a hip replacement, total hip replacement on my left hip. And the morning after, he taught me how to walk. And that's the impact of my life. That's why I have a great respect for Dr. Gustilo, because I have my life back. 2 months after that, I can climb mountains. I can ride my bicycle. I can go back to my airsoft club. I can ride my motorcycle. And I was very happy.
Our church in Manapla, it was built up from a sugar bodega. The parish priest was saying that he would like to fix up the church. And so that was the beginning of our planning, how to build a new church. And when after the inauguration and the blessing of the new church, he spoke to us with saying, I have come back to Manapla to give back to Manapla what it has given me. And this is how I would like to begin, by contributing to the building of the church in gratitude to God for all the opportunities that He has given me to be successful in life.
What I admire really about Dr. Gustilo is that after being so successful in the States, he did not just stop there, and he really came back to the Philippines to help the country. And what he really believes in is that there's a lot of Filipino talent in terms of creativity, designing, developing products that can be comparable to products being manufactured and developed in the States. He really thinks that, and he believes that Filipinos can also do it, and not just, we don't have to rely on foreign help, on Americans to just design products. So that's why he established Orthopedic International. And me being an engineer, I have really benefited professionally from Dr. Gustilo's passion for innovation. And yes, really, I've worked with him for more than 20 years, and I can really see that he is a person who is able to get different people with different backgrounds, orthopedics, engineering, to come together and work as a team and achieve great things.
Dr. Gustilo is not so interested with return of investment or how his ventures would turn out, but rather concerned on work ethic. Dr. Gustilo would emphasize that you should do good work so that patients would be happy and satisfied, and that would multiply, especially in the community. And I think that's the very essence of the life of Dr. Gustilo. He has a passion and a personal mission to give back to the community.
On 5 to 10 years.
ang pinakadako gid nga impact ni Dr. Gustilo ang nabulig di sa Manapla. Ang pagpatindog sang Northland nga makakater sang taga Manaplahanon mismo. Kag ang amon mga bisita sa iban nga lugar nga nagahalin, ma-accommodate man dira kag maayo ang pag-amuma. And ang bag-o nga na-construct nga hospital makakater sang health problems sang amon nga komunidad. Kag ang employment matagaan ang Manaplahanon sang mga obra.
Dapat sundo naton ang kabuhi ni Dr. Gustilo. Dr. Gustilo sang isa man sa kapamatanon nagtinguha, nag-eskwela, kag naging successful siya pangabuhi. Kag sang siya na successful, huwag gid pagkalimti kundi siya nagalin. Nagbalik siya pinalangga ang Manapla, kag ginbuligan, kag karon ang iya focus amo ang pagbulig, pagpadinad, pagpauswag sa aton mahal na probinsya Negros Occidental. And I hope that there are others like Dr. Gustilo who remembers his roots and come back to his roots and work for the benefit of his province mate.
Been married to Ramon Gustilo for 55 years. We have a rather lovely large family. We have 5 children, 2 boys, 3 girls, 15 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. And we've been very fortunate, very blessed. We both had good health, so far so good. And the house that you've been looking at, we've lived here for 25 years and a lot of good memories. We love the lake. It's too big now, but we're not leaving. So I wanted to say a little bit about Ramon. He's an unusual human being. I knew that when I first met him. I was a nurse and I was in 3rd floor chart room, and he came in and he obviously liked what he saw or something, because he said, "What are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Well, obviously nothing, because I'm off at 3. I mean, you know." We started dating. We dated off and on for about 3 years, and then we ended up being married, and we've had a good life. It's been a wonderful life. You know, I wanted to say something personal about him as far as being a doctor. About 20 years after we were married, there was a vacancy in his office that was a problem. So I decided to fill it, and I went and worked in his office. And I brought a patient into the examining room, and he didn't come, and I was just chatting with the patient and didn't let her know who I was. And he finally came in on the phone, talking. Finally, he hung up and he said, "Well, Mrs. Jones, how is your knee?" She said, "It was giving me a little bit of a problem." He sort of manipulated it a bit. And he said, "Oh, feels all right." And he walks out. And this woman turns to me and she says, "Isn't he wonderful?" Flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted. But he had an ability to develop a patient rapport. I always told him the secret of his success were his warm hands. He has very warm hands. Some people have very cold hands. He has very warm hands. And he used to sit on, and this was not done now back in the 60s, he would sit on the patients, these people's beds in the hospital, come up right close to them, grab their hand, hold their hand, talk to them. So I really think that that's really been one of the secrets of his success, was he does have a bedside manner. And he's also, they tell me, a very competent surgeon, a very good teacher. So he has lots of auxiliary skills also. think it's his warm hands.
To you, young people, always remember that talent is never enough. With hard work and a focused direction, you too can achieve your goals.